Okay, everyone. A good day to everyone out there in Recumbent land. This is the Google Plus Recumbent Hangout on Air live broadcast coming to you from all parts of the world actually today. So we're real glad that you joined us. I hope you enjoy the broadcast here. My name is Gary Solomon. I'm broadcasting to you from Columbus, Ohio. This is our monthly Hangout on Air that we produce and put on Google Plus. It's also available on YouTube. We hope many of you are watching on YouTube. And you can watch it anytime live during the broadcast and comment. And if you're unable to make the live broadcast, you'll be able to watch it on YouTube as it's archived later on. So you'll be able to come back later on and watch it. So we hope you'll make good use of what we can present to you today. The Hangout will be about 1 hour long, and we will break the broadcast down into 5 sections. We have a special guest with us this month that we'll introduce to you shortly, as we try to do every month. We will have a panel discussion with our panel on various topics of recumbent interest. We will present some recumbent news of the month for you, have an open question and answer period from the audience, and we will then talk a little bit about the Google Plus Recumbent community and community business. We have a few things to do there. So here's how you can participate. If you are on YouTube, you can simply add comments to the comment line. It will be sent to us as well as on the Google Plus event page, if you'll comment on the Google Plus event page. Or if you're on Twitter, you can tweet us using the hashtag BentHOA, B-E-N-T-H-O-A. And we will, in the Hangout here, be able to see those comments. We will present them on the screen for you. And we'll answer your questions and present the comments to our guests or to the panelists, depending on the time. And we look forward to answering those questions and hearing from you out there. Don't be shy. Please go ahead and ask all your questions. We'll try to get to them. At this point, we would like to. I would like to introduce our panelists. We generally have 3 panelists, but today Travis is off on a business trip in San Francisco and didn't have the equipment he needed to get on. So unfortunately, he's not with us today, but we hope to have him on next month. We do, however, have Carl Kidd. Carl is the moderator of the Bent Society of Southern Florida community here on Google+. He is a retired gentleman. He leads a twice-weekly ride along the scenic Atlantic coast on his Bicetta Corsa. And we're real happy to have Carl with us today. Hello, Carl.
Hi, Gary. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you.
In South Florida.
I'll bet it is actually a nice day here in Ohio for a change. I haven't said that too often. And then our second panel member is Lars Kamm. Lars resides in Salzgitter, Germany, works for a major automotive manufacturer, and he rides HP Velotechnik Street Machine GTE. But that's not important because in the last month, Lars has acquired a velomobile, a Strada, and he has christened the Intrepid. And he's been doing a lot of riding since he got that. I think he's pretty much in love with this machine. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about what he's done in the past couple of weeks with that. Lars also has a blog named streetmachinist.de. That's www.streetmachinist.de. And that's where he writes about his recumbent adventures on the road. So hello, Lars.
Hi. Thanks for having me. And I'm afraid the Street Machine is approaching dark times, but hopefully I get some other use for it. So let's see.
May not be getting too much use until you get tired of Intrepid, I'm sure. All right, and now I'd like to move along and introduce a couple of very special people that we are lucky to have on the Hangout today. This young couple has begun the second year of a 4-year, 50,000-kilometer world biking tour. last year was their first year. They spent it traversing most of Europe and started in France and ended up in Turkey. And now they're hanging out from us and coming to us live on the border of Turkey and Georgia, I guess, real close. I'll ask them more specifically here in a minute. But I would like everyone on the Hangout to meet Nicholas and Gökben M. And they are Frogs on Wheels. So welcome, Nicholas and Gökben.
Hello, Gary. Thanks for inviting us.
Hello.
Very happy to have you. We want to talk a little bit with our guests about their journey and the bikes that they ride. So let's go ahead and get into it. Nicholas, I'll ask you first, and then Gökben, if you have anything to add, please feel free to jump in anytime. I'd like to know what were your initial reasons for making this journey?
Actually, the main reason, I could say, it's our honeymoon, actually. And we got married, thank you. We got married a year and a half, and we both wanted to make a long-haul trip somewhere on our planet. And we couldn't make any choice, so we decided just to pick everything and make a long trip. And as we got married, we just decided that we could do it as a honeymoon, so it will be a 4-year honeymoon. And yeah, so both before meeting, we both wanted to travel anyway, and on a long distance trip. We didn't plan to travel by bicycle first, but it ended up like that.
Very interesting. So now, when did you get married, if I may ask?
We got married on the 5th of October 2013. So
okay, so you were married as you started then, yes?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I didn't know how long. So okay, so a married couple on the road, and that's one of the longest honeymoons then of all time.
Probably,
yeah. I am like a bride.
Yes, you can maintain that bride feeling for maybe 4 years at least. So
Yes.
We'll get to your bikes in a second. I want to talk about those, but let's take one more second since you are a married couple, and I'm kind of interested in couples riding together. I ride a recumbent tandem with my wife, so we do spend a lot of time together on the bike. And I'm interested to know how you feel that affects your relationship. Do you think all this time together, riding together on the bikes, it makes you stronger as a couple, or do you occasionally run into some rough road, so to speak?
So, as a newlywed couple, you may understand that we didn't choose a tandem.
Yes, I understand why.
We already encountered some difficulties being a multicultural couple, with 2 different cultures, 2 different languages from 2 different countries. The relationship was maybe not difficult, but we had to deal with some problems that we wouldn't have with a citizen from our own country. But somehow it helped us to make our decision traveling together on a long distance trip with all the difficulties that it brings, being 24 hours a day all together. So yeah, somehow it helped us, and I mean we're still together for now, so that's pretty okay.
It's worked so far.
Yes,
I won't belabor this. Go ahead, Gökben.
For me, it's really difficult to find someone that you can travel around the world with bike, especially. And I find myself lucky to find him, and I am pretty sure it will be so difficult to find someone Turkish, actually. So because of that, I believe we are doing something great, and we will be, of course, meeting with some unexpected bad things. But I think to be together, to find each other, makes us more stronger than being just alone.
I think that's definitely true. And just to finish this thought, so what my wife and I always say is that when you're out 20 or 30 miles someplace, you're not close to home, and you have an argument, you have to finish it, right? You have to decide and work it out, because you're not going to walk home. We both have to ride. So you have to finish the arguments, you have to get along, and it sounds like you guys have really worked a good way of doing that. So, all right, let's move along to talking about your bikes. This is a hangout talking about recumbents, and one of the reasons we were very excited to have you on is this major epic journey of yours is taking place on a couple of recumbent bikes. So can you tell us a little bit about your bikes? What are they? Where did you get them? And what kind of configuration are you using? Trailers? Tell me about your bikes and what you're using to get across the world.
So first, I would like to say why we chose like recommend bicycles. We made few bike trips in Turkey after hosting lots of cyclists coming to Ankara, where we used to live, getting their visa from the embassies. So the idea of riding a bicycle around the world came up like that. So we wanted to have our own experience. So we rode bicycles, like just a week trip in southern Turkey or in the agency. We both have back problems actually. We like the idea of traveling by bicycle because we could meet people so easily. It's a wonderful means of communication. And we wanted to be close to the population and to the locals of the countries we would cross. But our body was getting like terrible, really. As I said, we both have back problems. We went back to France for vacation, and we tried recommend bicycles. So we tried some Azub recommend bicycles and Velotechnique. The dealer over there in France helped us a lot. After a 3-4 day ride in Brittany, we just said, okay, that's the bike we need. I mean, if we have to ride like for like 3 or 4 years, at least we should do it like as comfy as possible. And we like that idea also as having a bicycle which doesn't exist in Turkey yet. Actually, there are 3 recommend bicycles in Turkey. We own 2 of them. So with that idea to like doing also something a bit unusual for the country we were living, and promoting that idea of traveling by bicycle as well. Means the cycling community is very small, almost inexistent here in Turkey. It starts to grow up, so we wanted also to be part of it. So we made our decision on Azub recommend bicycles. I'm riding Azub Max, and Gegben is riding Azub 6. We got them from France, from a dealer in Brittany called Velofasto. Those bikes also came from Czech Republic. We have no trailer. We have like 5 panniers each. So we are like regarding the people we met on the way. Some of the cyclists were like in the average regarding the panniers and the weight that we can carry. We were a bit worried at the beginning. We do have a roll-off, both of us. Gegben insisted a lot on having a roll-off.
Right.
It's
tell us a little bit what. Not everyone may know what a roll-off is. Could you explain that real briefly?
So yeah, the roll-off is a 14-speed gear hub. Everything is in the hub. It's like auto-lubricated, low maintenance. You can stop, change your gear, like if you get stuck on a hill, and it really, I don't know, it really eases our life, our daily life actually. Not thinking about, okay, if we go to a muddy place, we have to clean our bike afterwards. I mean, with a roll-off, we don't even think about where we're going now. We do take care of it, of course, because it's a very precious and equipment that we have. We do realize it. So yeah, we met a couple in Istanbul who Gegben talked with about the roll-off. We weren't planning to get any at the beginning when we were planning our trip, but finally we made that decision, and we have no regret about it.
Yeah, it's a nice, reliable piece of equipment, and it makes a lot of sense, I think, for you guys. So
yeah, indeed.
Very good. You touched a little bit about riding your recumbent bikes in general, but especially recumbents, I think. You tend to be approachable I think, to people that you meet, as opposed to riding in a car or something, or being on a tour. Can you talk a little bit about maybe some of the instances that you've had, and people that you've met come up to you? Do a lot of people come up to you and ask you about your bikes? Is that a real good way to meet people?
Yeah, indeed. I mean, we really love that. So we don't take the. You may know the Eurovelo routes in Europe, for example. A wonderful cycling path network set up in Europe, in like most of the European countries. But most of the time, we just wanted to go to ride through the countryside and just cross like very little villages to avoid the touristic path. And having a bicycle, I mean, whatever it is, a upright bike or recumbent, it helped us a lot. I mean, as I said, it's a wonderful means of communication. So, I mean, even if you don't speak the language of a country, I mean, people will recognize your bicycle. They may have one. They know how to ride one. So they will know somehow what you are facing with. I mean, riding anywhere. I mean, climbing mountains or in the countryside. So as soon as we can catch the attention of someone or the curiosity which emanated from him, I mean, we usually just stop and say hello. We learn a few words of each language of the countries that we cross to be even closer to the population. We can't have like real conversations, but I mean, it's a good start for us. And yeah, I mean, so like most of the times, just with the body language or with the English language, people are keen on approaching us and like asking some questions about our weird bikes, and asking where we are coming from, where we are going to, about us as well. I mean, most of the countries we go, I mean, they find like curious to have a, I would say, like Muslim and Christian-like couple getting married and traveling together. So instead of having a home and building a career, so we like talking also about that. And bicycle for that is a wonderful mean of to approach them. So yeah,
right. And speaking of talking to people, so I know because when we talked earlier in the week, you had told me that you had done a couple of presentations in schools. So can you tell me a little bit about what you've done along those lines in terms of some public presentations and what you have planned? How do those come up? Do those just come up when you get to a place, or do you plan ahead and try to get those things? What are your plans as far as public discussions of what you do?
So we started to present our project to schools and universities when we arrived in Turkey. Actually, we stayed like 3 months in Turkey. We both used to live there. Well, lots of people that we wanted to meet up again. And during our free time, we just decided, okay, why not going to the French schools here in Turkey, in Ankara, Istanbul, or even to the public schools, public Turkish schools. And just to share our experience, maybe someone wants to hear about what we're doing, that something like that is possible. Maybe Kevin can explain a bit more, because here in Turkey she's doing the presentations.
Sure, let me hear.
Yeah, it was, we were making presentations to middle schools, even elementary schools, high schools, or universities. And each of them are giving different reactions. And addition to that, we were in some newspapers or in some TVs, and we find them actually. We sent some mails to TVs or newspapers, and they were really interested because it is something really unusual for Turkey. And they are also interested with Nico speaking in Turkish. He can speak Turkish, so it's something cute for their news. And for the presentations, mostly middle schools are getting really interested because they don't have any exams on that age in Turkey, and they don't have any stress, so their imagination is so great. And when we go and say something about our adventure, every time an interesting question come up. So we are having new new words in our minds too, thanks to them. It's not just a presentation from our side, it's also something giving to us. So, and for now, we are on the east side of Turkey, and as we are passing from every city, we try to contact to some teacher, and for now it works well, and we go to that school and make a presentation. And for Asia, we already contact to French schools and Turkish schools in every country, and most of them are already interested, and we make the schedule. So we will go and make our presentation. This time, Nico will be doing too.
That sounds great. That's really interesting, and that's a nice thing to be able to perform that service for the countries as you're passing through, and give an idea of what it is that you do and where you came from, and about your crazy bikes and your crazy adventures. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about the future of your trip now. So, I know that you're on the border of, I guess, Georgia with Turkey. Can you tell us a little bit about what you have planned for this year, and where you're going to be going? And then there will be 2 more years, I guess, left on the trip. So tell us a little bit about the future of Frogs on Wheels.
So we don't plan too much. We don't have a plan that we follow step by step. So far, so we crossed like 13 countries in Europe. We're going to Asia, so like in 2 days we'll cross Georgia for our first anniversary, actually.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We'll go like to Georgia, Armenia, Iran. Then we would like to ride the Pamir Highway through the Stan countries. Then crossing China, going to Southeast Asia, so Vietnam, Thailand, Laos, most probably Myanmar as well. And ending up maybe, let's say in Australia, in like, I don't know, in 12 months or so. We can have a working holiday visa to go over there and to spend like more time waiting for the good weather, the good season in Colombia, to start going down from Colombia to Ushuaia in South America. So the plan changes every day, depending on the people we meet, on the difficulties that we encounter. So we just, on the visa problem as well, it's quite difficult for us to travel together because we don't have the same citizenship. The first big step was Iran, but we passed this one great. So we'll see, depending on those difficulties, on our motivation, on our wishes. I mean, the itinerary may change a little bit, or we don't know yet, but we'll see. I mean, we're just living day by day, actually.
That seems like the way to do it, I would expect. Now, I didn't notice any travel plans to North America at all. So when your trip ends, will it be in South America and there will be no trip to North America?
Why didn't we decide to go to North America yet? Actually, Gugben lived 7 months in New Jersey. I used to live 1.5 years in Canada and traveled in the United States. So for now, I'm sorry, but I mean,
we wanted to ride with you, so we were hoping that you'd come a little closer.
So for now, it's not in the plan, but we do have a backup plan. We would like to end our trip for now in Uruguay or Argentina, so in Montevideo or Buenos Aires. We do have a rule together. We don't want to take the plane to cross the oceans and to go from a continent to another one. So we cross them by boat. Those 2 countries offer, I would say, trips, cruises to Europe, to North America, or even to South Africa if we decide to go to Africa. So we'll see. It's like in 3 years. For now, we'll see in 3 years if we decide to go back to North America. But we do have like good friends over there. We did love our experience in North America, so it may be an option as well. We didn't dismiss North America at all.
Good. Well, we didn't want to be dismissed, but I understand since you guys were already here at one point, so it's not the highest of priorities. So, all right, Lars, Carl, do either of you have any questions for the M's?
Yes, I do. And my question would be, After this 4 period of time you were planning to travel, what's your plans afterwards? I mean, have you set a fixed time where you said, okay, our journey goes to this date, and then afterwards we are going to work or do something else? Or have you actually in mind to prolong the whole trip after those 4 years? Because I've 4 years are a lot of time, and after all this time, I can imagine that change might be not so easy to go back to a settled life and go working and earn, having kids. Maybe. What's your plans after that?
So far there is nothing fixed, nothing carved in the stone. For now it's a 4-year trip. Why? Because I mean we just like picked those countries on a map and said, okay, we need 4 years to do it like at our own pace. So let's do it like that. It can be, we can shorten it, we can extend it. It will depend on our motivation, our budget as well. So we'll see. After 4 years, so before starting, we were both engineers. We had both a good position. We both quit our jobs because we wanted to really to live that nomadic life together, and at least give it a try. Most probably, we won't be engineers anymore after the trip. We weren't even thinking, even before the trip, we weren't career-oriented people. So far, the plans may be like buying a farmhouse in the middle of Turkey and like getting some, I don't know, some donkeys and and sheep or what we can get, and just living a kind of simple life in nature for sure. We both don't want to live in cities, and keep like being able to live with nature and travel as well, either by bicycle or like climbing mountains, as Gekben is a mountaineer as well. So we'll see, but for sure a simple life, and most probably I would say like 90% of chances totally different from the life we used to live before the trip.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, you've captured the imagination of a lot of folks with that last response. I'm sure people who would like to throw it all in and live that simple life and do what you do. That's wonderful. Carl, did you have a question for the end?
Well, I was wondering, listening to you tell us where you've been and where you're going. At least the news that we read here in the U.S., it seems like some of the areas that you go to are, well, we'll say interesting, maybe a little dangerous. Have you have any stories about going through various countries that, well, may have been a little difficult?
Are you ever afraid? Maybe is what Carl's asking.
Yeah, I'm
It's a
trying to
fair
be
question.
nice. Yeah, because it sounds dangerous. Some of the locations that you're going through and have been through, at least to us here in the U.S.
To be honest, actually, we're not afraid. We may be a bit worried, but maybe because of all the things we may hear about the like from the media, or about like stereotypes or cliches that we can get from some countries. But we do want to make our own opinion about that. To be honest, when I came to Turkey 3 or 4 years ago, my family didn't want to come and visit me here because what they were hearing from Turkey. They eventually came for our wedding, and they just had some regrets not deciding to come before. So my father will come again in Turkey, for example. I can understand you also talking about Iran, for example. There are lots of Iranian people in Turkey. There is no problem between Turkish people and Iranian people, and people can make the difference between the politics. The politics and the people themselves. So we'll see. I mean, Georgia, we already know Georgia. We're going to Armenia because we are really curious about it, even if we're like celebrating an anniversary this year about what happened between Turkey and Armenia. But we'll just figure out by ourselves, and we just hope that we were right, like going to those countries and like kind of proving also to our closest friends that they may be wrong, like just like accepting all the things that media can say, which can be like terrible things as well. I mean, some terrible things happens, of course, but we are all like human beings and world citizens, so we just want to promote that as well, and going over that to prove that, I mean, we are not like enemies to anybody.
I want to add something about what I felt in Europe. As a Turkish citizen, we were always in some kind of fight with Greece or in Serbia because of the past. With Greece, like 100 years, and with Serbia because of the war, like 20 years ago. And everybody was warning, be careful in Serbia. They don't like Turkish people. Remove your Turkish flag. It's so dangerous, etc. So at the first day we entered Serbia with my Turkish flag. A couple invite us to their house, and it was our like most wonderful night in our tour, because we had lots of chats. We discussed what happened, what is the relation now, and I was so upset because I was thinking totally different because of the TVs or media. And I create my own observation. So, and it happened same in Greece too. They don't hate us. They actually speak Turkish, and they like us a lot. And I'm really happy to have that observation too. So for these two countries, I break the rules in my mind, and I'm pretty sure it will be the same for Asia. And so, and I don't know, as a Turkish person, again, some people think that we are using camels in our country, and maybe it will be a way to show how do we live in Turkey.
That's really an important point. So you learn not to prejudge, which is really important. You don't want people to prejudge you, and you don't want to prejudge people before you meet them in various countries. And also, to bring it maybe full circle back to the bikes, it would occur to me that your bikes, when you ride into town, wherever you may be, you are about the least confrontational couple that you would imagine. So you don't look like any sort of threat coming to town, and I would expect, as you've stated earlier, that you probably elicit much more curiosity from people than any sort of fear or anger. So I think maybe the bikes maybe help you out there. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, indeed. We won't come like threatening people. We are also vulnerable traveling by bicycle, but we just want to think positively and bringing a common means of communication to be able to have a first contact with them, and just to tell them, look, we are just like people from other countries, other cultures, and we just like want to know more about you and all your customs and habits and who you are and what happened or what do you think. Yeah, just to make our own mind, actually.
That's wonderful.
I have
Go
one
ahead.
comment on that, because, well, being German, you can imagine I have a little experience with not being liked by people. So it's not the nations. That's, I think, is important to understand when you hear those two speaking about that. It's not the nations. It's the people. When people get together, no matter from where they are, they're completely different than talking about, well, the Dutch don't like the Germans and all kinds of stuff. So I think that's a great way for people from all over the world to get together to speak to another, and most important, to understand each other. And I think that's great.
Thank you. Indeed, this is
go ahead.
This is just the first barrier to break, like what people can think or prejudge about, like where you come from and who you could be coming from that country. So yeah, that's the first step to be able to build a healthy relationship between people. So
yeah,
there are frontiers all over the world, but I mean, we didn't decide about them. I mean, being like from one side to the border or the other one, so we just want to cross and just see what's going on the other side.
Yeah, right. I tend to think about that as You know, there are frontiers and borders all over the world, but you can't see them from space. You know, we are all on spaceship Earth, and I think that's a good way to remember that way. So that's great.
I agree. That's a good point, Lars. So it turns out that that the M's are not just ambassadors from France or from Turkey, but you actually, in reality, are ambassadors of humanity as you go across the world and showing people that that people are like all over the world and are curious about other sorts of people and like to learn about new places. So it seems to me that's what you're doing. So that's a wonderful thing. We support you. And speaking of support, as we kind of wind down this interview, I wanted to ask you, how can the people that are watching help you in your endeavors around the world? What can they do to support you?
Support can be like from different kinds. The first support that we can get is from the people that we meet. Just having a chat with us, or getting interested in what we are doing, or letting us the opportunity to know more about them. Then it can be some other things like making our life also easier or warmer as cyclists. A hot tea, a hot place to stay, like we do tonight. I mean, we met a wonderful family as well who is helping us tonight. It can be also for the people we can't meet, of course. I mean, money is everywhere, we can say. People can also help us making donations, of course, through our website. We just live on a low budget, but just maybe just to help us to face with unexpected situations. I had to go back, for example, to France for some funerals, for example, which we wouldn't have expected and we wouldn't have wished, of course. So yeah, I mean, that's how people can help us, or help us. How can I say? Helping us finding some information about, for example, how to cross the border from a country to another. For example, we were talking about that with our host yesterday. There are some checkpoints close between Georgia and Armenia. It can be also finding a place or meeting some people that someone knows from a country to another, to be able to meet some locals again. We really dedicate our travel to meeting people and being very close to them and sharing as well what we are doing if some people wants to hear about it.
And also we have something special for us. We like to do it. If someone help us, we would like to send the card postal from the country they want to see. It's kind of how can I say, letter friend, we say in English, I guess. So
pen pal, we would say pen pal maybe, but
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We would like to do that, and we are doing it for some followers. We are sending card postal from a country that they always want to visit, but they never had chance. So it is something that we really like to do.
We just put up a copy of the Google site, Frogs on Wheels.
Right, and actually the M's have a website. You can Google Frogs on Wheels. I think it's probably the easiest way. Is it www.frogsonwheels.com? I think, is that right?
.net.
.net. Okay, so www.frogsonwheels.net, and if you go there, you will find all kinds of interesting information about the M's. They'll tell you more about their journeys, where they've been in the past. Lots of good pictures and stories. They have a map that gets updated pretty commonly, and it tells you where they are right now, where they're going, so you kind of follow along. And there's a page for the donations that they talked about as well. So if you'd like to help them out financially by making a donation, I'm sure they would not refuse you at any time. So that's, I guess, the point there. Fellas, any other final comments before we say goodbye, or at least end the interview? I don't want to say goodbye to them. I think they're going to hang on. Okay. So
just wish them well and be safe, and I can't wait to keep reading the blogs and the stories as you travel. It's very interesting.
That's pretty much where I was going. Yes, we're so happy that we've had the opportunity to speak with you on the Hang On Air and talk about your recumbent travels together, your marriage on the road, and this exciting trip around the world. So we wish you all the luck in the world, and we hope that you will check back in with us. Maybe we can check back in next year or something and do an update and see how you're doing there and how the bikes are holding up, because everyone's going to want to know about that, I think, as well. So, Nicholas and Gukben, thank you so much for joining us. Please stay with us as we continue the hangout, if you like, and thank you so much.
Thank you too. You just came back.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Well, that was a good. That was a good time to leave if you're going to leave. So, all right, folks. That was the guest of the month interview. We're going to move along here now and talk a little bit about some of the. You have a comment?
Yes, our friend Bob Brown, our guru of the picture world, just posted the frogsonwheels.net website here. So,
except I don't see the .net part on that comment. It didn't show up on there. It may be too wide or something. So
maybe, but he posted it. So it's thank you.
Well, thank you, Bob. And get Bob's comment off the screen. I don't want to see that.
We don't want to see Bob anymore.
All right. So let's talk about some news. Unfortunately, Travis is our laid-back news desk man, and so we're going to kind of wing it this month without him. So we're going to talk about some of the things I had seen in the news, and they mostly revolve around some bike shows that are coming up this year around the world. The largest one, I guess, and maybe Lars can actually help us out here a little bit, is coming up in a couple of weeks, April 25th and 26th in Germany, and it's called Spezi. And Lars, can you tell us a little bit about what goes on at Spezi and how old it is, if you know a little bit about it?
Yeah, well, I think it's what's the word? I can't think of the word. It's an anniversary this year. I think it's 20 years.
Yeah, I did see that.
It's the special bike fair in Germany in Germersheim. I never been there myself. I always tried, but never managed. I hope next year. But basically, you can see everything there. You can see new bikes from all, well, at least European manufacturers like HP Velotechnik, like don't know, Hase, and you can see not only recumbents but also other special bikes like cargo bikes, for instance. So it's a quite big deal in Germany, and lots of people go there. And one big factor, I think, of being there is meeting each other. So lots of people just go there to meet each other, and it must be a lot of fun. Well, maybe next year I'm able to attend. So
we have a couple of our community members who are going to be there and have promised to report back on what goes on, maybe with some pictures and video. And so maybe we'll hear a little bit more about that on. We'll see it on the community, and hopefully maybe we'll have a little report on next month's hangout as well. Do people set up rides, recumbent tours and rides around Spezi as well?
I don't know whether people set up tours around Spezi, but what I know is that people in the recumbent forum in Germany are setting up bikes to and from the Spezi. So people actually post things like, oh, what about let us ride three days to Spezi or from Spezi or whatever. So there is it's almost like a gathering where all kinds of people come from different directions and meet up there, and it sounds exciting. I hope to, well, maybe next year. I'm a little bit
You're tied up. I know.
sad.
No, you're
not
disappointed.
being able to go
All
there.
right. That sounds great. Now, so the two other large shows that I wanted to talk about as far as the news will be this fall. So the Spezi is the one that's coming right up, but the other two come around in this fall. The first one is CycleCon, which I've not attended either of these either, but I'm going to attend at least one, if not both of these this year. CycleCon is a recumbent only a show, as far as I know, that brings in tons of industry leaders, manufacturers, and such. And there's, I guess, one day, the Friday part of the weekend is industry only, and then Saturday and Sunday they open it up to the public, and it moves around every year. I think Spezi just is in one place, if I'm not mistaken, but CycleCon has moved around the country, which is kind of a cool thing to do, so that lots of different people who maybe can't travel as far can join in and see what goes on. So this year it's going to be in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is just down the road for me, maybe an hour and a half away. And so I and a couple of my friends I know here are going to be making the trip, and so we'll be reporting from CycleCon there, and hopefully meet other members there and report back. Maybe even do a little live remote. We'll see what we can do as far as bringing you the information from CycleCon in an interesting manner. And then there's a new
at least record something. You know, take your video,
right,
and do
right.
a video.
Yeah,
and then I can show you how to produce it on a Hangout on air.
There we go. Yes, that's right. You are about to have a good track record with that, I think, Carl. So, and then the third show is actually a brand new show. It's called Cube, Chicagoland Unconventional Bike Expo, I think is what that stands for. Put on by a bike shop that's in Chicago, and it's recumbents, but it's unconventional bikes. So I guess other sorts of bikes as well will also be shown. So. That would be interesting. I did have a chance to reach out to the lady that runs the thing, and I think we'll have her on a hangout later this year after they get going a little bit and talk a little bit about what's upcoming at Cube. So we'll keep you posted on Cube and see what develops there. It is the week after the CycleCon. CycleCon is Cincinnati, 26th and 27th of September. Cube is in October, the 2nd and through the 4th of October, so it's the next week. So we'll see how that develops. So, and that's the laid-back news as I know it for this month. We'll move along to the panel discussion, and we're going to start where we have left off before. Carl has been trying to get this bicycle horn review of his on the air here for a couple of months, and I think he has it down. And so I'm going to turn it over to Carl, and he will present to us what he's got. Let's find out more about the bicycle car horn. Carl?
Okay, well, I hope you can see, is my screen share working? You can see,
yes, we see it.
Okay, well,
thank you.
Well, I'm just going to let myself talk, and then I'll come back. This is about a bicycle horn that sounds like a car. So hopefully it's going to play.
Thanks, Gary.
And Gary, can you tell me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. It's
item
good.
that I've added to my bicycle.
Very good.
It's called the loud bicycle horn. That it sounds like a car, and I'm very concerned about my safety here in South Florida. I ride every morning, me in the traffic, so I'm out there, and I want people to see me. Here in South Florida, many of the drivers have what I call selective attention. They're looking right at me, but they're not seeing me. And I have bells, whistles, horns, flags, you name it. I've got it on my bike. I'm probably the most friendly bicycle rider on A1A because I wave at everybody. Well, I'm not really waving to be friendly. I am, but I'm waving so that they'll see me. And I thought, I need something that sounds like a car horn. something that will get their attention. So I started looking on the internet, and wasn't anything available. Until early in 2014, I ran across the Kickstarter project being conducted by Jonathan Lindsay. He's the founder and chief engineer. Well, Jonathan, I hope you're watching. He said he was going to, and you sent some comments. And he had the same concerns I did. I need a horn that sounds like a car, because we're programmed to stop, look, and listen when you hear a car horn. Well, after watching his presentation on his Kickstarter project, I said, I've got to have one of those. So it took a little while for the project to get funded and the first production runs done. I got mine in early December of last year, 2014, installed it on my bike, and now I won't ride without it. Sounds exactly like a car horn. When I blow my horn, cars stop, people stop, dogs stop, everything stops because they think it's a car. That's exactly the kind of reaction that I want. So I have a short presentation that shows the horn, various parts, and also a video of me riding and blowing the horn. You'll see it sounds exactly like a car horn. Once you hear it, you're going to want one. So here's the presentation. Thanks.
So this is the symbol of the car horn, and you'll see it comes nicely boxed. Jonathan did a good job. It's a little bit on the large size, but it's nicely made, easy to install on the bike. Here it is on my bike, behind the fairing. You can see it in the front. And then I'm going to walk around. By the way, that's what Florida winters look like. Sorry, all you northerners. But anyway, they provide a nice extension cord for us recumbent riders to get the button, the horn button, up on the handlebars. And the neighbors always love when I do this. Sounds like a car. And then that's me riding down the street. And that is what a car horn sounds like. So I'm going to stop it and bring it back to me. And so hopefully everyone got to see that. And they could actually hear it. Lars, did I make it? Did it work?
It worked perfectly.
Oh, wonderful.
That was great. I'm going to stop presenting. That, you know, when it occurred to me while you were playing that was great. That if Nicholas and Guckman decided to use the car horn on their bikes while they were on their tour, they could probably start some sort of international incident with that kind of noise.
Yeah.
they probably would, because whenever I blow the horn, I have never had anyone say anything other than, that sounds like a car. Well, where I ride, I'm in the traffic, you know, cars whizzing by, cars, bikes, and I get a wonderful reaction. I mean, they stop, they slam on their brakes, you know, and I've ridden over 80,000 miles on my bicycle, and knock on wood, I've never had a real incident, but since I've had the car horn on there, the loud horn, it has been wonderful. And so get one and be safe.
Okay, thank you. I'm so glad we got that taken care of for you, Carl, and everyone got a chance to see that. So
yeah,
all right.
Carl, I think you got a compliment going on there.
Yeah, Bill must be watching. So yeah, you're right, Bill. I love my socks.
Yeah, there it is. Let's put that up there. So Bill's in there telling us that those were some nice socks. So nice horn and nice socks. You can't beat that. That's a great combination. Okay, that's great, Carl. Thank you. Okay, let's look at some of the other subjects we wanted to talk about. The next one that we have here is aerodynamics and recumbents. This was suggested by Bob Brown, I believe, last month as a possible subject. And I guess we want to talk about what sort of aerodynamic modifications could be made to your bike to make you go faster, or at least make it easier into the wind and that sort of thing. So, Carl, obviously, looking at your bike and you riding on that bike, you've got a tail sock, you've got a fairing, you've got what must be silicone socks or something, probably to slip through the wind even faster. Tell us a little bit about how you feel about the aerodynamic modifications that you've made and that can be made.
Well, our group here in South Florida, we began to kind of investigate aerodynamics. We started with the tail sock, and I think we've done some roll down tests on our hills, all right, bridges, you know, South Florida, but we think we get a mile an hour, maybe a mile and a half increase with using the tail sock, and about a mile with the fairing. Of course, it's nothing like Lars's Velomobile being totally enclosed, but we do feel that we do gain a mile, mile and a half, maybe even 2 miles an hour, depending on the conditions. But at our age, every little advantage helps. When I take everything off and ride, as I call, ride it naked. Sorry, but
concerning age, just talk for yourself, Carl, please.
I was going to come in with the same comment, but it sounds better coming from you, Lars. Go ahead.
Well, I'm older than dirt, but we do feel that there is an advantage. It's not a tremendous advantage, but it does. Obviously, the faster we go, the better it gets. Sometimes when we're doing 17, 18 miles an hour, then we increase it up to 22, 23. Yes, it's more work, but it's not as much. It doesn't. You think, obviously the cutting through the wind is most of the effort riding a bike. And as you get going faster, that's why I think Lars ought to be riding along at 35 miles an hour now that he's got his Velomobile. And I'm waiting
Lars, let's go ahead and
those tremendous rides that he's doing now.
Let's go ahead and talk to Lars for a minute, because you have a tail sock and a fairing, but Lars is like completely enclosed in an aerodynamic shell. So Lars, tell us about your experience that you had now and how it compares.
Well, it's a little bit hard to compare directly, because I never rode a trike, an unfaired trike, so I can only compare the street machine to the Velomobile, and that's basically two different worlds, really two different worlds. When I rode the street machine, I could go comfortable pace that was about 20 kilometers per hour. And with the Velomobile, I go 30 kilometers an hour, which is a 50% increase. And this is huge. This is really huge. And that makes me think, really, whatever measure you are thinking about concerning aerodynamics, it's worth it, because from a certain speed on, the biggest resistance you have to conquer is the wind resistance. And if you can cut that down with whatever measures you choose, that's worth it, because you could either
Carl,
go.
Carl was talking briefly there about getting an extra mile, a mile and a half additional speed using his modifications. So, Lars, when you talk about huge, you're not kidding around, because I think in terms of making modification to your bike in general, what people are looking for in terms of a percentage gain, maybe a 2 or 3% gain, they think that's a very significant improvement. But you're talking about 50%, that goes way, way beyond. So that is something that's phenomenal, yes?
Yeah, but keep in mind, these are two completely different vehicles. It's like comparing a donkey to a racehorse. It's so you can't directly transfer it to other bikes. So I think Carl's 1.5, 2 miles an hour is realistic on the same bike.
On the same bike. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm comparing. Yeah, I'm comparing just a roll down. You know, I start at the top of a hill, and I just barely push off, and it's just the gravity pulling me down the hill on the same, you know, with the fairings, the tail shocks, and without. It's not where I'm pedaling. You know, when Lars talks about pedaling from 20 kilometers to 30 kilometers, really the way to test that is to have a power meter, and we're looking at installing a power meter on our bikes to really get a test if you're running at 20 miles an hour, and you're producing 150 watts. To do that, and you put a fairing on it, and you're only doing 100 watts. Oh, you know, there it is. You know, you're more efficient. So
no doubt.
It gets very scientific if you want to really get into it, but
no doubt. All right, folks, we're getting close to the hour mark here. I don't want to get this extended too long. I have a number of other subjects that we wanted to talk about, but we'll save those for next month. I want to finish up with a little bit of community business here. We, as many of you know, have lots of interesting posts, pictures, videos that get posted to the Google+ Recumbent Bike Riders community. And we like to take the best of the best every month, do a little contest, and I put a poll on the community, and you guys decide what the best posts in the three categories are. Three categories. The first category is the discussion post of the month. What was the best discussion? We had the nominees this month were Ernest Gregoire. He had a trike fairing discussion. Bill Barrere, his Tufo tubular clincher tire. Bill also had the SBD pedal discussion, and Curtis Wenzel had a discussion about his Lightning P38 build-up. The winner that you chose for the discussion was Bill Barrere's Tufo tubular clincher tire discussion. So congratulations on that, Bill. I think you're out there listening. Your prize is in the mail. By the way, there are no prizes, just in case anyone was interested. Maybe we're working on that. We'll see about it. We just have to take what we give you on the air for your prize. So next we have the picture of the month post, and we had Christian Blessing who posted pictures about how few recumbents there are in Malaysia, and had an interesting discussion around that as well. Lars, you had a Velomobile Arrives picture from the Intrepid. Miroslav Turek, nominated again this month, squeezing a recumbent into a tiny car. That was kind of a cool picture that he had, where they took apart his recumbent and stuck it in this little tiny car. Stefan Schill, his picture about the self-made long wheelbase. Really an interesting bike, by the way. I hope you have a chance to take a look at that if you haven't seen it already, that Stefan put together. And Jan Godemeyer, Belgian recumbent riders, was his picture. He had a group picture there for that. The winner of that category was Christian Blessings, the few number of recumbents in Malaysia. So congratulations, Christian, on winning that one. And the last category was
I love that picture too.
Yeah, that was cool. And the last category is the video of the month, the video post of the month. We had Lars in there again, his commute from Salzgitter to Wolfsburg, I guess he would say. Lars also had a video of his wife as she became a recumbent rider. So actually, we need to congratulate Lars's wife on that one, because he got his wife onto the recumbent riding scene. Ian Fardo, Murky Evening Commute video, which was a really nice one that Ian posted. And I posted one as well about the bike Sebring recumbent victory. And it turns out that I won, so I know it sounds a little murky, as I said, but I did win that, so thank you very much, and that's all the victory speech I'm going to give that. But thank you, and thanks to everyone who posts all the pictures, the discussions, the videos. We appreciate them all, and we'll continue doing the contest and highlight those every month. Okay, just to finish up, I think we've got 537 members now on the community, so thank you for all of you that have joined and participate. We will keep hoping that more people will join and grow the community. And again, I'd like to ask all those who haven't already done so to go in that upper right-hand corner box where we put the links to important links for the community. You'll see the community locator map link. Fill it out. Tell us where you live. It just has to be a general location, and then other people in the community can find out if there's someone else with a recumbent bike in their community they might like to ride with, and that's available on that same link box. You'll see the actual map pop up, and it'll show our members all around the world. So that's about it. We appreciate you all joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the hangout. We had an interesting interview with the M's. We appreciate them coming on again. We hope to have them on again maybe next year. They'll bring us up to date. We will be on next month. We're going to go back to the first Sunday of the month. So that'll be May 3rd. So we hope you'll join us then. I'll keep you posted on who's going to be on and what we'll be talking about. So May 3rd at 2 p.m. And please let me know if you would like to come on and be a panelist and join our panel, or be a special guest like the M's were on today. We are always looking for interesting folks to talk to and to interview. So thanks to my panelists, Carl, Lars, always a pleasure. We appreciate you being on and everything you contribute. And once again to Nicholas and Gökben M for joining us from Turkey. Thank you. A pleasure, Nicholas, Gökben. We will see you again soon. Bye bye, everybody. Thank you. Bye bye now.
Bye.